Hello, this is November India 0 Zulu here, NI0Z with the SDRzone shack. And today we're going to talk about Johan SDR testing. I realized that when we first started Johan testing, we were looking more at just listening to signals be broken down with an attenuator. What I've done now is I've used some simple tools. I know they don't look simple, but trust me, they're a lot more um, simplistic to use and set up than a lot of the official testing tools that you can purchase for quite a bit of money, although a lot of it is pretty reasonable on the used market. What I like about this in particular is we can use live signals to basically take a look at and compare multiple SDRs. This testing video will cover all of the series of tests that you're about to see here over the next few weeks. This first one's going to be with an MB1 by Expert Electronics versus a Flex 6500. I thought people would find this of interest. Another one that'll be coming along shortly after this one is we'll pit the Onan 8000 DLE against these two radios. And then we'll pit the Onan 8000 DLE against the 6500. I do have the 6500 for a short time, and then it has to be sent back in. We'll wait as far as flex testing goes beyond that for a Flex 6600 to come back into the shack. And then I'll probably keep these radios. Eventually we'll do a compare with the KX3 and the ELAD FDM Duo. I don't think I want to keep either of those radios now, but we'll see how that goes. So let's quickly just walk through how we're going to do the testing here. Over here is my rack of SDRs. So you can see all of the SDRs that I just mentioned. See if we can brighten this up here for you a little bit to see the Duo and the KX3. Alright. And there's your MB1, your Flex 6500. And then up here on its lonesome is the Onan 8000 DLE. Alright, so let's take a look at what we're doing here as far as additional hardware. So basically, down here in the corner, we've got two DAWs. And one of them's for my input audio, my microphones, and the bottom one is the one we're using for the receive audio. A little Bose speaker over here that is tied to the headphone output of the DAW. And up here what we have are two Sound Blaster HD USB sound cards. And what we do with those is we feed the audio output from the radios to the DAW. We use some isolators in there to make sure that the signals are clean. That's what this little dongle is here that's hanging. And then we run the other half of that signal up into the sound cards for the digital modes. So that you can actually process and look at it both ways, and you have a direct equal comparison. Now what you're seeing here too is a signal splitter. This is the ELAD 1 to 5. Basically each radio is receiving an identical signal from that signal splitter via an identical cable. The audio cables are identical, the XLR cables are identical. So this puts the radios on a equal platform, equal footing, if you will. Now what we do is going into the DAW, we equalize those signals. So when you look at the top meter there, the left is the MB1, or the top one. The bottom one is the Flex 6500. You can look. We also see this down in the spectrum analyzer. The signals are very equaled out. We can look on the oscilloscope and we can see that it's equaled out. We can look at the frequency analyzer. We can see it's very equalized. It does happen to show you the different shapes of the envelopes. And up here we've got basically another frequency analyzer that's a heat map that shows visually in 3D what the audio signals look like. Up top we've got a couple of spectrum analyzers that let you see the differences there. And it's very interesting to look at because when we look over here, we see the signals are equaled out, but you can see spectrally they look different. We just happen to have the pan adapters up on these, the MB1 on the top, the Flex 6500 below it. We've got DM780 running here. Basically, this is for the digital portion so that we can compare. Again, those outputs come directly off of the headphone jack for parity. One thing to kind of note is some of these radios have a direct sound card into the PC versus having to come through the headphone jack. So, for example, Flex has DACs that could actually allow it to perform better with a digital connection versus a physical hardwire connection. But we're going to just look at the hardwire connections on these to try to keep everything on an equal footing. So you can take away what you'd like for that. As you can see, this takes a lot of work to set up all of this testing. I've been at this for a couple of years now. I did take a break from ham for a little while, and I've come back and I've set up this test suite as best as I can to try to make things really equal and to be able to give a really good Joe ham test. So what we do is we take those identical signals from the splitter into the radios, and then we have an attenuator down here, and the attenuator sits between the antenna and the splitter. So I can manually attenuate up to 100 dB. There's a 10 big wheel in the back and then a single digit increment in the front. So that's how the attenuator works. And you can just see here, just turn that a click at a time, attenuate. What we'll do is we'll show you where we're at on the attenuation up here in the top right corner. You'll be able to see the signals coming in, how they change, what they look like as the attenuation occurs. In the digital modes, we'll see how the signals break down. We'll actually try to copy some signals when we get really weak to see which radio breaks down copying a digital signal first. Then we'll turn around and we'll do that with USB, and we'll probably stick to 20 meters for all of this testing for this time period, just due to the band conditions. It's going to be very hard for me to basically work some of those other bands here. I do have a good antenna, but I think we're just going to stick to 20 meters for this set of tests. So it's not going to be a laboratory grade test. If there's not a signal injection, it's a live signal being injected and viewed. The signal is variable, it's real world, so that's the purpose of this test. This video will just be a standalone. You can go back and refer to it when you want to look at any of the comparisons that we're going to do. So I hope you enjoy. I hope this explains what's going on here, and I hope you find these tests interesting and ultimately useful. This is November India 0 Zulu 73 to you, and we're clear from the shack.